My husband told his friends I was boring in bed and sent them a video to prove it, a video I never knew he recorded. When I found the chat, I downloaded everything. By the end of the week, his group chat was gone, his job was reviewing his conduct, and so was our marriage. I'm 29, he's 31. We've been married for 4 years. I thought things were good. Not perfect, but solid. He works in sales at a tech company, I'm a teacher. Normal life stuff. 3 weeks ago I was looking for a photo on his laptop because mine was dead and he was at the gym. He left it open on his desk. I wasn't snooping, I swear. But when I opened the browser there was a group chat still logged in. I recognized the names. His college friends, guys he games with online every week. The most recent message was from him. Sarah's being boring again. 3rd time this month she just wanted to sleep. I'm about to lose my mind. I felt sick but I kept reading. I scrolled up. There were months of messages like this. Him complaining about our sex life. Them giving him advice, making jokes. Then I saw it. A video. Posted by my husband. 6 months old. It was me. In our bedroom. I was on top, and you could see my face clearly. I looked tired. I remember that night. I'd had parent-teacher conferences all day and was exhausted, but he'd been so insistent. The video was maybe 2 minutes long and it cut off abruptly. His caption, "See what I mean? She just lays there half the time." No enthusiasm. The responses made me want to throw up. His friends were rating me. Saying things about my body. One guy said at least she's got a nice rack and my husband replied true but what's the point if she won't use it? I sat there shaking. I scrolled back further. There were 3 more videos. All of me. All filmed without my knowledge. Angles where the phone must have been propped up somewhere I didn't notice. Different positions, different times. All with his commentary about how disappointing I was in bed. I didn't confront him immediately. I know people say you should but I couldn't think straight. Instead I took screenshots of everything. Every message, every video, every comment. I sent them all to my email. Then I sent them to a cloud drive. Then I put them on a flash drive. When he got home from the gym I was sitting at the kitchen table with his laptop still open. He saw my face and knew immediately something was wrong. What happened? I turned the laptop around so he could see the chat. He went white. Then red. You went through my private messages? You filmed me without my consent and shared it with your friends. It was just guy talk. Venting. You're taking it out of context. I played one of the videos. Watching him watch it was surreal. He couldn't even look at me. Delete them, I said. Right now. Every single one. Okay. He reached for the laptop but I pulled it away. Not just from the chat. From your phone. From wherever else you saved them. And I want proof. He got angry then. Started yelling about how I violated his privacy, how guys talk shit sometimes and it doesn't mean anything, how I was blowing this way out of proportion. He said I should be more concerned about why he felt the need to vent in the first place. That maybe if I put in more effort he wouldn't have to complain to his friends. I asked him how many times he'd filmed me without asking. He didn't answer. I asked if he'd shared anything else. Photos, details about our life, whatever. He said no but I didn't believe him. I told him I wanted a divorce. He laughed. Actually laughed. Over this? You're insane. I moved into our guest room that night. The next day I called out sick from work and went to see a lawyer. I brought all the evidence. The lawyer's face when she watched those videos. I'll never forget it. She said what he did was illegal. That I could file charges if I wanted to. I thought about it for 2 days. Then I filed a police report. My husband found out when 2 officers showed up at his work to ask him questions. He came home furious. Said I'd humiliated him in front of his boss and coworkers. That I was trying to ruin his career. I told him he ruined it himself when he decided to film me naked without permission and share it with his pervert friends. He's been staying at his friend's place. Ironically, one of the guys from the group chat. That guy's girlfriend found out why and kicked him out too, so now they're both couch surfing. The police investigation is ongoing. My lawyer says I have grounds for a civil suit too but I haven't decided yet. The divorce is moving forward. His parents called me crying, begging me to work it out, saying he made a mistake but he's a good man. I told them good men don't film their wives without consent and mock them to their friends. His friends all deleted the group chat but I have everything saved. A few of them have reached out to apologize. One even said he told my husband at the time that what he was doing was wrong but my husband brushed him off. I don't know if that's true or if he's just trying to cover his ass now. My husband's company is reviewing his conduct because apparently filming someone without consent reflects poorly on their values. He might get fired. He's telling everyone who'll listen that I destroyed his life over nothing. That the videos were just between friends and I'm acting like he posted them online. But here's what I keep thinking about. If he thought it was nothing, Why did he look so scared when I found them? Why did he get angry instead of apologizing? Why did he try to make it my fault? My family is split. My mom says I'm doing the right thing. My dad thinks I should have handled it privately instead of involving police. My sister says she gets why I'm hurt but wonders if I'm going too far with the legal stuff. Now I'm second-guessing everything. Was filing that police report too much? Should I have just divorced him quietly? Everyone keeps saying he made a mistake and I'm ruining his whole future over it. Am I a butthole? The detectives came to my house yesterday with printed copies of messages I'd never seen before. Turns out when you file a police report about someone distributing intimate images without consent, they actually investigate. They pulled his phone records, went through his cloud storage, requested data from the messaging app. What they found was so much worse than what I'd originally discovered. There were other group chats. Not just the one with his college friends. He had a separate chat with his coworkers. 5 guys from his sales team. They'd been sharing photos and videos of their wives and girlfriends for almost 3 years. It was like a competition. They had rankings. Categories. My husband had shared over 40 images of me. Some I knew were taken, most I didn't. Shower photos through the bathroom mirror. Me getting dressed. Asleep in bed. The detective, this older woman who looked like she'd seen everything, sat across from me at my kitchen table and said, "I need you to understand the scope of what we're dealing with here." Then she showed me printouts. Screenshots of men I'd met at company parties rating my body. Discussing what they'd do if they had the chance. My husband encouraging it, adding his own commentary. One of his co-workers had apparently asked him once if I knew about the photos. My husband's response, "What she doesn't know won't hurt her. Besides, she's lucky anyone wants to look." I threw up. Right there in my kitchen sink while the detective waited. She told me 4 of the 5 men in that work chat are also being investigated now. Their partners are being contacted. The company fired all of them 2 days ago, not just my husband. Immediate termination. Apparently when HR found out what was happening on company devices, during company time, they didn't hesitate. The 5th guy had quit months ago for an unrelated reason but they're still pursuing him. My husband has been calling nonstop. 37 missed calls yesterday alone. He finally got through and I accidentally answered while trying to decline. He was screaming so loud I had to hold the phone away from my ear. Blamed me for destroying the lives of 4 other families. Said those men have kids, mortgages, car payments. That I've ruined everything because I couldn't take a joke. I asked him what part was supposed to be funny. He didn't answer that. Just kept yelling about how I turned a private matter into a public spectacle. How I should have come to him first, worked it out between us like adults. "I did come to you first," I said. "You called me insane." He hung up. His mother showed up at my school during my lunch period. The front office called me down and there she was in the lobby, crying. She tried to hug me. I stepped back and she looked so hurt, like I'd slapped her. She said her son made a terrible mistake but he's suffering enough. That he's sleeping in his car some nights because none of his friends will take him in anymore. She said I'm a teacher, I should understand that people deserve second chances. I told her I give second chances to children who forget their homework, not grown men who sexually exploit their wives. She called me cruel. Said I'd always seemed cold and now she understands why her son sought validation elsewhere. Then she left. My principal pulled me aside after and asked if everything was okay. Word travels fast in a small town. Some of the other teachers know. I can feel them looking at me differently. No one said anything directly but I catch the whispers when I walk into the break room. The lawyer handling my divorce called this morning. My husband's attorney is pushing for mediation, trying to avoid court. They're claiming I've caused enough damage to his reputation and career, that I should show mercy in the settlement. My lawyer laughed when she told me that. Said we're not showing mercy to anyone. That what he did isn't just grounds for divorce, it's criminal, and she's going to make sure every cent of his savings goes toward making this right. His friend, the one whose couch he was crashing on, messaged me last night. Long paragraph about how he never thought it was okay, how he told my husband multiple times to stop, how he feels sick knowing he was part of that group chat. He said he's in therapy now. That his girlfriend left him even though he swears he never shared anything of her. She didn't believe him. I don't know if I believe him either. The detective said they all claimed they were uncomfortable, that they'd objected. But the chat logs show them participating. Making comments. Requesting specific content. They were all active members. My husband's dad called today. Didn't yell, didn't cry. Just asked me quietly what I wanted. What would make me drop the charges? I told him nothing would. That his son committed a crime and needs to face consequences. He said I sound heartless. Maybe I am now. The worst part is finding out how long this went on. 3 years. We've been married for 4. That means almost our entire marriage, he's been doing this. Every intimate moment we shared, I have to wonder if he was thinking about how to describe it later. If he was calculating angles for photos. If he saw me as a person at all or just content for his entertainment. I've started sleeping with my bedroom door locked even though I'm alone in the house. I check every room for hidden cameras. I cover my laptop camera. I get dressed in the closet with the door closed. I know that sounds paranoid, but I can't stop thinking about what else he might have filmed that hasn't been found yet. My sister came over last night with wine. She didn't try to give advice or tell me how to feel. We just sat on the couch and she let me talk. I told her I felt stupid for not noticing. She said that's what he counted on. That men like him are good at hiding. The preliminary hearing is in 2 weeks. My lawyer says the evidence is overwhelming. That he'll likely take a plea deal. I don't know what I want to happen anymore. I wanted him to understand what he did was wrong, but I don't think he does. He still thinks he's the victim. Part of me wishes I'd never looked at that laptop. That I'd stayed ignorant. Then I remember those messages, those rankings, those videos, and I know I couldn't have lived with myself if I'd known and done nothing. My mom asked if I'm sure I want to go through with pressing charges. She supports me either way but wonders if I've thought about how this follows me too. If future partners will Google my name and find news articles. If I want that attached to my life forever. Honestly, I don't care anymore. Let them find the articles. At least they'll know exactly who they're dealing with. Someone who doesn't tolerate being treated like an object. I just want this to be over, but it feels like it's only beginning. Now writing update 2. One of the wives from his work group chat found me on social media. She sent a message at 2 in the morning 3 days ago. Just said, "Can we talk?" I didn't respond right away because honestly I'm exhausted and didn't know if I could handle someone else's pain on top of my own. But she kept messaging. Said she needed to know what I knew. That her husband was telling her it wasn't as bad as the police made it seem. We met for coffee yesterday. She brought her sister with her for support. The second she sat down she started crying. Her husband had told her they only shared a few photos, that it was just guy talk that got out of hand. She wanted to know the truth. I didn't sugarcoat it. Told her everything the detective showed me. The rankings. The comments. The requests for specific types of content. She pulled out her phone with shaking hands and showed me texts from her husband swearing he barely participated, that he was just in the chat but never engaged. The detective had given me copies of some of the messages for my records. I brought them in my bag, not sure if I'd need them. I showed her the screenshots with her husband's username. 42 messages over 6 months. Graphic descriptions of what he'd do to me. Jokes about drugging his wife to get better photos. She read them and then excused herself to throw up in the bathroom. Her sister stayed with me. Asked why I was showing her this, if I was trying to hurt her. I said no. That I was trying to save her from believing a lie. That these men don't deserve protection. When she came back from the bathroom her eyes were different. Hard. She thanked me. Said she was filing for divorce that week. Her sister drove her home. My husband found out we met. Don't know how. He showed up at my house last night banging on the door at 11 p.m. I didn't let him in, but I could hear him through the door screaming that I'm on a crusade to destroy everyone's lives. That I'm not satisfied with ruining him, now I'm going after his friends' marriages too. I called the police. He left before they arrived, but they took a report. The officer suggested I consider a protection order. I said I'd think about it. My lawyer called this morning with an update on the divorce. His attorney is claiming he's unable to work due to the stress and public humiliation I've caused. They're asking for spousal support. From me. My lawyer said it's a ridiculous request that won't go anywhere, but they're throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks. The preliminary hearing happened yesterday. I wasn't required to be there, but I went anyway. Sat in the back of the courtroom. My husband wouldn't look at me. His lawyer argued that while his behavior was inappropriate, it was between consenting adults in a private setting and didn't meet the threshold for criminal charges. The prosecutor pulled out phone records showing he'd sent images to 17 different people. That some of those people had forwarded them further. That they'd found my photos on 3 different devices belonging to people I'd never met. The judge looked disgusted. Set a trial date for February. My husband's mom sent me an email. Long rambling thing about how I'm destroying her family. How his dad's blood pressure is through the roof from the stress. How his younger brother looks up to him and now that relationship is damaged. She said I took vows to love him in good times and bad and I'm breaking those vows when he needs me most. I wrote back one sentence, he broke them first. Then I blocked her email. A reporter contacted me last week wanting to interview me about revenge porn laws. Said my case is generating attention because of the workplace element. That having multiple men at the same company involved makes it noteworthy. I declined. My lawyer said it's better to stay quiet until after the trial anyway. But someone talked. There was an article in the local paper 2 days ago. Didn't name anyone but gave enough details that people in town know who it's about. My principal called me into her office to ask if I felt safe continuing to work. If I needed time off. I said no. That working is the only thing keeping me sane. 3 more wives have reached out now. All asking the same things. What did their husbands really do? How bad is it? Can I help them understand? I met with one of them. Showed her what I showed the first wife. She called her husband right there in the coffee shop and told him not to come home. That she was changing the locks. I don't feel good about destroying these marriages. But I also don't feel guilty. These women deserve to know who they married. What their husbands think of them when they're not around. My best friend asked me if I'm sleeping. I'm not really. Maybe 3 or 4 hours a night. I keep having dreams about cameras hidden in my house. About walking down the street and everyone staring at me because they've seen the videos. I wake up in a panic. Therapy starts next week. My insurance covers it. The therapist specializes in trauma. I've never thought of myself as traumatized before, but I guess that's what this is. My husband left a voicemail yesterday. First one in a week. He sounded different. Tired. Said he knows I won't forgive him, but he needs me to understand he never meant to hurt me. That he loved showing me off to his friends because he was proud. That it got out of hand, but his intentions were never malicious. I deleted it halfway through. His intentions don't matter. The impact does. The detective called with another update. They've identified 2 more men who received images. Both claim they didn't ask for them, that my husband just sent them unprompted. One of them is his cousin. I've met him at family gatherings. He said congratulations at our wedding. I don't know how to process that. How many people have seen me naked without my knowledge? How many people look at me now and remember what I look like without clothes? My sister says I'm being too hard on myself. That none of this is my fault. That I need to stop acting like I did something wrong by trusting my husband. She's right, but it doesn't feel that way. I keep thinking about all the times I could have noticed something. All the moments I dismissed small weird things because I loved him and didn't want to be paranoid. The divorce will be final in about 4 months if everything goes smoothly. My lawyer says I'll get the house and most of our savings. That he has no grounds to ask for anything given what he's done. His lawyer keeps trying to negotiate, but we're not budging. I saw him at the grocery store last week. He was in the frozen food aisle. We made eye contact and he just stood there holding a bag of pizza rolls. I grabbed what I needed and left. He didn't follow me. My dad asked me if I ever think about what happens after all this is over. If I'll be able to move on and trust someone again. I told him honestly I don't know. Right now I can't imagine letting anyone that close again. Can't imagine being vulnerable with someone when this is what vulnerability got me. But I'm still here. Still showing up. Still fighting. That has to count for something. Now writing update 3. His lawyer served me with papers yesterday claiming I've been harassing the other wives and interfering with his right to a fair trial. Apparently me meeting with those women and showing them evidence constitutes witness tampering. His legal team is arguing that I'm orchestrating a campaign to turn people against him before the criminal trial even starts. They want the judge to issue a gag order. To stop me from talking to anyone involved in the case. My lawyer called it a desperate move. Said they're grasping because they know how bad the evidence looks. But it still rattled me. The idea that showing people the truth could somehow be twisted into me doing something wrong. The worst part is 2 of the wives I met with are now being subpoenaed as witnesses. Not for my husband's trial, for his defense. His lawyer is going to put them on the stand and argue that their divorces prove I'm vindictive and out for blood. That I'm not a victim seeking justice but someone on a revenge mission who won't stop until everyone around him is destroyed. One of those women called me sobbing. Said she never wanted to be involved in court. That she just wanted answers about her own marriage and now she's being dragged into this whole mess. She asked if I regretted showing her the messages. I told her no. She deserved to know. But I could hear in her voice she wished she didn't. My therapist asked me this week if I've considered what my end goal is. What outcome would make me feel like this was worth it? I didn't have an answer. I started this because what he did was wrong and illegal. But now it's sprawling into something bigger than I expected and I don't know where it ends. The school board called me in for a meeting. Didn't say why, but I knew. Parents have been complaining. Not about my teaching, about the situation. Apparently having a teacher involved in a sex crime case, even as the victim, makes some families uncomfortable. The superintendent assured me my job isn't in jeopardy but suggested I might want to consider transferring to a different school next year. For a fresh start. I asked if they'd be suggesting that if I was the one who'd committed the crime instead of being victimized by it. They didn't answer. My husband's brother showed up at my house 3 days ago. I haven't seen him since before all this started. He knocked. I opened the door thinking it was a delivery. He looked terrible. Asked if we could talk. I let him in. Don't know why. Maybe because he's the only one in that family who hasn't yelled at me or called me names. He sat on my couch and told me his brother has been staying with them for the past week. That he's barely eating, barely sleeping. That he sits in their guest room all day scrolling through old photos of us. He said I'm not asking you to forgive him. I just need you to know he's falling apart. I told him good. That maybe falling apart would teach him something about consequences. He looked at me like I'd hit him. Said, "You really hate him that much?" I said, "I don't hate him. I hate what he did. I hate that he made me into evidence. Into a court case. Into something other people get to have opinions about. I hate that I can't go to the grocery store without wondering if the person in line behind me has seen me naked." He left after that. Didn't say goodbye. The prosecutor called me in to prep for the trial. Went over what I'd need to testify about. Showed me the video clips they'll be showing in court. Made me watch them while she took notes on my reactions. It was clinical. Detached. Like we were reviewing footage of someone else's life. She warned me his lawyer will try to make me look bitter. Jealous. Like I'm exaggerating what happened because our marriage was failing anyway. She said I need to stay calm on the stand. Not emotional. That juries respond better to victims who seem rational. I asked how I'm supposed to seem rational when they're going to play videos of me that I didn't consent to being filmed. She said, "Practice." My best friend told me yesterday she's worried about me. That I seem different. Harder. I asked if that was a bad thing. She said she doesn't know. The trial date got moved up. Early January now instead of February. The prosecutor said it's because they want to avoid dragging it out through the holidays. My lawyer said it's actually because they're worried my husband's team will keep filing motions to delay and they want to get ahead of it. Either way, it means I have less time to prepare. Less time before I have to sit in a courtroom and answer questions about my sex life in front of strangers. I got another message from a wife yesterday. Not one of the ones whose husbands worked with mine. Someone new. She said her husband was in his college group chat. The original one I found. That the police contacted her last week and she's been trying to process it. She asked if we could meet. I haven't responded yet. Part of me wants to help her. Wants to give her the truth like I did the others. But another part of me is so tired. Tired of being the person who destroys families even when those families were built on lies. My husband sent flowers to my classroom yesterday. No card. Just roses. 15 of them. The same number he sent on our first anniversary. My students thought it was romantic until I threw them in the trash. Then they got quiet. One girl stayed after class and asked if I was okay. I told her I was fine. She said my mom went through something similar. She says it gets better but it takes a long time. I didn't know what to say to that. His dad left a voicemail. First time I've heard from him directly. He said the legal fees are destroying them financially. That they've had to take out a second mortgage to pay for the defense attorney. He didn't ask me to drop the charges but I could hear it in his voice. The unspoken question. I deleted the voicemail. The detective called with another update. They found more files. Not photos or videos. Documents. He'd been keeping a journal on his phone. Entries about me, about our relationship, about what he shared and why. She said it might be useful for the trial but it's also hard to read. Asked if I wanted copies. I said yes. I don't know why. Maybe because I need to understand. Maybe because not knowing feels worse than knowing. She's sending them tomorrow. Said to read them when I'm ready. That there's no rush. But there is a rush. The trial is in 3 weeks. Everything is accelerating and I can't slow it down. Can't step off this path now even if I wanted to. My sister asked what I'll do after the trial. After the divorce is final. If I'll stay in this town or start over somewhere else. I told her I haven't thought that far ahead. That right now I'm just trying to get through each day. She said that's enough. That surviving is enough. I hope she's right. Now writing the final update. The trial ended 3 days ago. He took a plea deal on the second day. His lawyer must have realized how bad it looked once the prosecutor started presenting evidence. The journal entries were worse than the videos. Pages and pages of him describing me like I was a product he'd purchased and was disappointed with. Rating different encounters. Discussing which angles made me look best for photos. Planning future content with his friends like it was a business strategy. The prosecutor read some of it aloud in court. I sat there listening to my husband describe our wedding night in clinical detail, noting that he'd gotten good footage but wished he'd positioned the camera differently. He wrote about our anniversary trip. About the night I told him I was scared about my dad's cancer diagnosis and needed comfort. He'd filmed that too. Called it emotional content that his friends appreciated because it showed a different side. I watched him while they read it. He kept his head down the entire time. Wouldn't look at me. Wouldn't look at anyone. His lawyer approached the prosecutor during the lunch recess. By the time we came back, the deal was done. 3 years. He'll serve at least 18 months. Has to register as a sex offender. Lifetime ban on posting anything online without supervision. Mandatory therapy. The judge asked if I wanted to give a victim impact statement. I prepared one but when I stood up I couldn't read it. Just looked at him and said, "You made me afraid to exist in my own body." He started crying. His mother was sobbing in the back row. I felt nothing. The divorce finalized a week before the trial started. I got the house, the car, most of our savings. His lawyer tried to argue he needed funds for his defense, but the judge shut that down fast. Said he'd forfeited his right to marital assets when he committed crimes against me. I've started the process of changing my name back. Not because I'm ashamed of being married to him, but because I don't want to share anything with him anymore. Not even letters in a name. 4 of the other wives divorced their husbands. 1 stayed. I don't judge her for it. Everyone has to make their own choices about what they can live with. Her husband got 2 years. The others got similar sentences, except for one who fled before his trial date. There's a warrant out for him now. My ex-husband's brother stopped by last week to pick up some items from the garage. He apologized. Said he should have known something was wrong. That he'd noticed his brother being secretive with his phone, making weird jokes, but he brushed it off as normal guy behavior. He asked if I'd ever forgive his brother. I told him forgiveness isn't something I think about. That I'm focused on moving forward, not on whether the people who hurt me deserve absolution. He said that seemed lonely. Maybe it is. I transferred schools for next year. Different district, fresh start. My principal wrote me a glowing recommendation. Said I'd handled an impossible situation with grace. I'm not sure about grace, but I handled it. Therapy has helped. My therapist says I'm experiencing complicated grief. Mourning the person I thought I married while being angry at the person he actually was. It's slow work. Some days I feel like I'm making progress. Other days I'm back at the beginning. I went on a date 2 weeks ago. A teacher from another school I'd met at a conference last year. He'd asked me out before everything happened, but the timing was wrong. He asked again recently and I said yes. It was fine. He was nice. We talked about normal things. At the end of the night he tried to kiss me and I panicked. Apologized and left. He texted later saying he understood and to reach out if I ever wanted to try again. I probably won't. My mom asked if I regret how I handled everything. If I wish I'd just divorced him quietly and moved on. I told her no. That staying silent would have meant those other women never found out the truth. That those men would still be doing it. She said I paid a heavy price for other people's freedom. I said some prices are worth paying. The house feels different now. I've repainted 2 rooms. Bought new furniture. Rearranged everything so it doesn't look like the place we shared. It's mine now. Just mine. I found the last of his things in the attic yesterday. His high school yearbooks. Photos from college. A box of letters we'd written when we were long distance during his first job. I read one. He'd written about how lucky he felt to have found me. How he couldn't wait to build a life together. How he'd never do anything to lose me. I burned all of it in the backyard fire pit. Watched the smoke curl up into the evening sky. My neighbor came over to make sure everything was okay. I told her I was just cleaning house. His cousin, the one who'd received photos, sent me a message apologizing. Said he'd immediately deleted everything when he got it. That he told my husband it was inappropriate. I don't know if that's true. It doesn't really matter now. I've been sleeping better lately. Not great, but better. The nightmares are less frequent. I don't check every room for cameras anymore. I'm starting to feel like my body belongs to me again. My students threw me a goodbye party on my last day. They'd made cards, bought flowers, baked cookies. One girl hugged me and whispered, "I hope your next chapter is beautiful." I cried in my car for 20 minutes after school ended. I don't know what the next chapter looks like yet. I'm still figuring out who I am now. Who I want to be. What I'm willing to risk to let someone close again. But I know I'm not the same person I was when this started. That woman trusted too easily. Believed the best in people even when the evidence suggested otherwise. Thought love was enough to protect her. I'm harder now. More careful. I see red flags I would have ignored before. I ask questions I would have been too polite to ask. I protect myself first. Maybe that makes me cynical. Maybe it makes me smart. Probably both. The prosecutor called yesterday to tell me 2 more victims have come forward in a separate case. Men who'd been in various group chats with my ex-husband over the years. Their partners found out through news coverage of the trial. She asked if I'd be willing to speak with them, share my experience. I said yes. Because maybe that's my role now. The person who survived this and can help others through it. I don't love that role. But I'll do it anyway. People keep asking when I'll be ready to move on. To date seriously again, to trust again, to open up again. I don't have an answer. Maybe next year. Maybe in 5 years. Maybe never. I'm okay with not knowing. For now I'm focused on smaller things. Repainting the kitchen. Planning lessons for my new classroom. Learning to be alone without being lonely. Building a life that's mine and only mine. It's not the life I thought I'd have. But it's honest. And after everything, honesty feels like enough.